Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Keeper Loria Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our new guests, Eastin, Alex, and Kay. We are here with the creative team of You Are the Future, here to break down the graphic novel and their upcoming board game. How are you three doing? Welcome to the stream.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Doing good, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our first time getting a nice formal introduction. Eastin, I know we've kind of interacted on Twitter a couple times here and there, but it's nice to kind of get you guys here in person to break down this awesome adventure. For everyone that is watching, we are going to be talking about a campaign that is currently in pre-launch. You can sign up today to be notified when it goes live. It's going live February 28th, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Yep.
All right. So be sure to sign up so you can be alerted right when they go live. First and foremost, guys, welcome. Give us a little introduction to who you are and how you got into, creating graphic novels and games.
Eastin, kick us off, man.
Yeah, I can go first. So I'm Eastin DeVerna. I've been writing comics for a number of years now. I started doing Kickstarter campaigns probably almost 7 years ago or around there. I don't know how long it's actually been, but I did Samurai Grandpa with Sean Daly. We did Lost Souls. Kay and I did A Guardian as well, and Samurai Grandpa and A Guardian were put out by Source Point Press. A Guardian, the trade, is coming out in March, actually next month, which is pretty exciting. So this is my first venture into the gaming world as well, and we wanted to sort of combine our love of comics medium and games. So when Alex came up with this idea, I was like all about it. So maybe I'll pass it over to you, Alex.
Yeah, for sure. So Eastin and I in a day job long ago worked together just as colleagues, and I was always just a big fan of his comic book work and his I want to say authoring. That's probably not the right word. But when we decided that it was, I had this idea for a long time that we wanted to start a publishing company, and that making a great game, the best games have a good story to them. And our first idea was this like huge epic journey of a game that would have taken me 30 years to build, and it would have been this monster. And then we kind of said, like, well, what are we really trying to do? We want a fun game that people can immerse themselves in, and we want a really great storyline. So why not develop a graphic novel and a tabletop board game that kind of pair and complement each other nicely and give that full immersive experience? And then I have no artistic ability, so maybe I'll hand it over to Kay.
Perfect segues, by the way, guys. Perfect segues. That's like beautiful.
That was beautiful. Hi, Kay Baird. More recently, Kay Woolheiser. I've been doing. I learned how to draw with comic books, like copying down panels and stuff. So they've always been a really strong influence on my art, even from a super young age. And I just kind of knew that I wanted to do comics. I really enjoy visual storytelling. And so I'm really drawn to these big like fantasy epics, which is why I started working on A Guardian with Eastin, as you mentioned. And so when they decided to do this game, they hired me to do the art, and it's been wonderful. I've always wanted to do art for card games, and I'm really excited to be able to branch out into this part of everything.
No, that is really cool. I had the opportunity to check out You Are the Future as well, and it was such an interesting read. I wasn't prepared, because at first I thought it was a comic, and then I started reading. I was like, this is like a mixture, like a hybrid of both. And I loved how you guys were able to intertwine it and like take advantage of both mediums.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's been Kay's downplaying herself too, by the way, that we've really shared so much of like the theme and what we're trying to accomplish with both the story and like the mechanics of this game. Mm-hmm. And Kay has really had a way of bringing that to life where, her suggestions and her interpretations were like, oh, hell yeah. Like, no, that's exactly what it should look like. So it's been really great working with the three of us. Yeah.
So I am curious, and I'm like trying to decide where I want to go with this first. I really want to scratch the surface of like how the creative process worked between you three. Like, did the graphic novel come first? Was it ideas for the game that was laid first? Like, you know, I know you kind of said they go hand in hand together, but like, which came first?
Yeah, so I think, and Eastin, feel free to chime in. I think Eastin and I talked about, I had an idea that I liked the concept of a post-apocalyptic setting, and that there's this dynamic of wanting to keep the young wards, the young folks safe, while also like keeping the community strong, and kind of finding the balance between like, how are you going to raise something strong in this post-apocalyptic world while keeping yourself alive, and like where's the balance you find there. And I wanted that to be an actual mechanic in this game. And so
that's cool.
The game itself, you're kind of having to simultaneously position, you know, your strong character to be in a place to protect and gain ground, but at the same time you have to sacrifice to grow in what we call teachable moments, grow your ward, that eventually you're going to retire your keeper, your strong character.
Mm-hmm.
He or she is going to retire, and this ward is going to take the place as your heir and finish the game stronger with more power. And we love that mechanic. And then Eastin was able to develop that into an actual story that kind of follows not just one or two characters, but all of the ones that you can play in the game. And Eastin, maybe talk a little towards that.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So Alex had that idea. Well, we when we were first talking about it, and you know, like I've written a post-apocalyptic comics and a novel before. Those were very very bleak and sort of dead world stories. And, you know, we were talking about like what art direction we envisioned this going. And, you know, I was working with Kay on A Guardian Volume 1. And I was like, Kay is just like so versatile and amazing. But like, Kay, one of your strengths, and forgive me if I'm talking for you, but like is drawing like nature and like really, really diving into that sort of, you know, the very colorful worlds. You have such a, you know, a way you tell stories through color. And then so, you know, we kind of leaned away from that sort of dead, wasted world into like a nature takeover world. And then so it really started with that concept of the gameplay and like what we wanted. We want like a family driven game. The family stories are just, you know, they're you can go so deep with them, and you know, everyone can relate to them in some way or another. So then we went into sort of the post-apocalyptic version of a nature takeover. It's like borderline fantasy as well in some points. And then we started talking to Kay, and then she just had all these amazing ideas and these character designs and world designs. And then even when it came to the board, like you can see it on our landing page, there's 4 segments, and each one is a season. And so you can see Kay's just working her magic. But Kay, I can let you talk more about the art direction.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Kay, your art is gorgeous. I really loved the designs, the way you utilized, you know, the color palettes. It felt very alive. Like I said, when I was reading through what you guys sent me, I was like so blown away, just how you were able to intertwine both, like almost like a book in a comic almost into one. It was such, and like, I don't want to spoil too much, so I'll stop right there. But Kate, awesome job. I loved it. Give us a little bit about some of your designs in this.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all of you, thank you so much. You're all so kind. So when they brought it to me, the thing I love about You Are the Future, I'm not personally a huge fan of post-apocalyptic stories, but this one was so hopeful, and instead of focusing on everything's desolate and you just have to try and, you know, scrape by to survive, it was this, you know, bad things will happen, but rebirth, like doing better for the next generation, raising stronger people. The fact that everything is alive, and even though everything might be thrown out of balance,
and trying to kill you.
and trying to kill you, there's still this kind of cycle where things are getting stronger and better, and you're fighting for a better tomorrow. I really enjoyed how optimistic and loving a lot of the story was. It's something I don't see a lot in this particular genre. So I wanted to go for that. That's why I wanted everything to be very bright and colorful. And even though some of the locations on the cards or in the book are pretty grim and desolate, they have a lot of life growing on them because, you know, things move on. And so I really
like that
wanted
a lot.
to focus on that.
I like that a lot.
Thank you. As for the characters, I just wanted to draw cool looking people, like people who was like, yeah, I don't want to be friends with them. that was the beginning and end of it.
You know, I feel like I could talk about this part because the image has been shown before, but I love the sword, the like deer antler bone sword. Such a cool, I was like, dude, this is so awesome. Are we gonna see like more like weapons and stuff like of that nature, or like what type of, you know, what type of world are we looking at?
Totally. Alex, you had the sort of the deer motif, so you want to talk about how came up with that, and that became sort of part of the world too. Yeah. And anything you want to talk about from what you've seen is fair game. Everything.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Everything.
Okay. So
during the
real quick, let me take the wheel then. I loved how like parts of this book like were used as like almost like a journal. Like, you know what I mean? Like with the airplane, like, dude, I was like, this is so cool. This is like such an immersive experience. Cause like books lack the ability to give you the visual, and you were able to do that with the art. It was just like,
sorry, just to cut in before you, Alex. But like, I'm so glad you said immersive. Like that's really what we're going for. And that's sort of how we landed on like, the blending of prose and comic sequential and like the journal illustrations like that, because we just felt like using a whole bunch of different mediums, we're not limiting ourselves. So we can get some internal thought through some of the narration, or through literally some internal thought on the page. And then you have the awesome sequential action and beautiful splash pages that Kay can do. And then like, so the plane sketches are actually from the book that Loria carries around with her, because she's recording history as she goes. So that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to just really throw everything at the reader at once. Sorry, Alex, I'll pass it to you.
No, I love it. You can see her book on her satchel right there. And yeah, no, I mean, I think Kate masterfully said it about like that idea of rebirth. I love the idea of you can see some deer antlers there, and I love the idea of like growing stronger, then they fall off, and then they grow stronger the next year. And when we were in kind of the initial stages of planning, we spoke to Kay about the artwork, and I kind of said I wanted this theme to be a part of like, you know, the culture of this new society that's forged here. And Kay found a way, as you look through like the cards and the artwork, to find a way that each of these characters has like a unique antler or something to them that it's a part of their society. So I just love that we've kind of ingrained that metaphor into almost everything. It's really great.
So, Kay, what was your experience like designing these cards? I know it would, you know, from the consumer standpoint, it just would feel like a different experience, you know, designing a card compared to designing a panel.
Oh, definitely. It was very nice because I had just wrapped up doing the art, I think, on the first A Guardian volume, where comics are amazing. Like, obviously, I love doing them, but they're a very long, arduous process, whereas these cards are like, okay, it's this one singular thing, and then it's done relatively quickly, and it's like, oh, yay, it's done. And so that was awesome. It was very satisfying to just jump into a completely different realm of, you know, designing these illustrations, making sure they read, even though they're going to be really small, and being able to put a lot of extra detail into them that I can't do on a comic panel. It was great. I'm really excited to do more card art in the future.
So I was going to ask, you know, with the type of way this book is crafted, since you're not necessarily doing art like every single page, did you feel like you were able to really pack in more with the pages that your art was on?
Oh yeah, definitely. I got to put a lot more detail in, and it's also a different format, so there's less panels per page. And so it was really nice because I got to go in there and really scribble in as much detail as possible without having to worry about, you know, drawing every single page.
Because with the traditional comic, you have 22, 30 pages, and it's filled with art to top to bottom. So often whenever I talk to an artist, they always say you really have to do your panels and move on to the next. You can't really sit there and try to perfect it. I mean, was it a different experience for you since you had a little bit more room to play with?
Yes and no. Yes, in that it took a lot less time because there was less to do. No, because I'm not great at that. Get the panel done and move on. I'm like, no, I want it to be perfect. And that's something I'm working on personally. But I tend to just want everything to be super detailed and then like shoot myself in the leg in the process.
We have Ichthus stopping in over in the chat saying, what is up? Welcome to the stream, Ichthus. I hope you're having a fantastic time. So Eastin, give us a little bit about what to expect with the story. I know we kind of talked about what went into it and some of the processes, but what is, I guess, the concept of the story so far?
Yeah, so there are a couple points to the story. The main characters that we follow are a keeper, that's Loria Thornstrum, and she's a historian, but her class is the Stoic, so that plays into her actual card when you play as her, and she's the one on the cover there. And then you have Fern is her ward, and so they're sort of paired, and it's her job to, like Alex was saying, really sort of protect and raise and not just help this child survive, but really help them thrive and give them the best of you so that they become not just a better version of you, but they're building on the good parts of themselves too. So it's a bit of like a parent dynamic story. And so her job sends her out into the wastes as a historian, and she's trying to really uncover what was the old world about, or where did they come from, as humans, because they don't know anything, kind of thing. It's sort of like a fresh slate, and there's all this old, these remnants like the plain and these blown out cities and things like that. But while nature is like totally just encroaching and coming back and taking everything over. So it's her job to figure that out. And so she's taking her ward Fern with her. Shenanigans ensue, as you saw during the first chapter. They get themselves into a bit of trouble. But that's only part of it. They're going to get back to their village, just called Birkenhead. And there, what happens is there's an elder. And so all of these terms that I'm throwing out for the story, they're incorporated into the game. There's an elder throne, which you can see on the board there. It's next to the green patch. And so an elder is a leader of the village. And there's a tournament within these villages and societies to see who's going to become the next elder and help them survive and thrive into the future. And so while she's training and helping Fern grow to become a good person, she's also trying to help him grow to potentially lead the rest of them as an elder. And so we're going to see some antagonists come in, and there are other characters and classes that are specifically in the card deck. So yeah, it's gonna deal with a lot of that sort of society and familial dynamics, and really just about someone trying to raise a kid in a pretty scary world, but one that can be beautiful at the same time. So really a family story and community story at the end of the day, with all this cool post-apocalyptic dressing,
No, that's cool. And if you're gonna survive in this world, you got to be able to chew through some vines. Am I right?
Yeah.
So let's take,
or literal for that. Yeah.
Let's take a look at some of these cards. And Alex, feel free to tell us a little bit about some of the gaming mechanics we can expect to play, when we're checking out the game.
Yeah, sure. So you can see by kind of the deer indication on the bottom whether that is a ward, which we're looking at right now, who has more of supportive characteristics, a keeper who would be like your starting character, and one of the mechanics you can see is that like the keeper is strong enough on his own, but if his character token is beside his ward, his attributes are enhanced. He gets the power of keeping his ward close. He gets some benefit to doing that. And then what you'll see is an heir as well. And so the way that the game is working, you're competing against your opponent for what in some game circles you might call the King of the Hill style, meaning you're battling to hold down the center tile. And for each turn that you do that, you gain a teachable moment. And if you accrue enough of those without getting defeated in the process, you can retire your keeper. And then you'll see what you have right there. The prodigal is one of the heir cards. And that's kind of like, one of the, each player has an heir card, which is kind of like a God mode card that once that one gets on the board, things heat up quite a bit. It's a real
that's
strong
so
character.
cool.
And if you're lucky enough to keep your keeper alive in the process of doing that, that God mode character, that prodigal, inherits the abilities of the keeper as well. So you can really kind of stack your traits and think about the strategy behind, like, can I level up fast enough before my opponent does? And how can I keep my opponent from doing it better than I can?
That's so cool. And I love how, you had Fern right here with the wolf, and then boom, like, the lighting effects on the arms, and almost, it appears like nunchucks almost. Like, I love this, like, hyper, like, form of his.
Thank you.
Kay also did a great job of we kind of have a track for each character, but it's not intended that you need to play those characters together. You could play them out in mix and match, and that adds to the strategy of the game. However, Kay has perfectly evolved each character into one of the character types. So as you just saw there, Fern can evolve into the prodigal, but it's not necessary in the gameplay, but still thematically just makes it fantastic.
And I mean, anytime you can power up your guy, that's always like a win for you, right? You're always like, yeah, let's go. Like, even like checkers, like getting your character to turn into like a king. It's like, yeah, dude, I'm about to take everyone.
Exactly.
You get a weapon upgrade, a costume change, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome. So it looks like 1 to 2 players, 20 to 30 minutes, and ages 8 and up. So you can get, some of your younger children involved and beat them down if they're acting up, right?
Well, I would say hopefully teach them how to be strong. Let's go with that.
That's one of the things Alex and I, when we were talking about starting Old Oak Studios and making games, I've played a decent amount of games, and a lot of really cool ones, but some, like, you have to spend 3 hours or whatever, like, learning the directions or setting up a board. And, Alex and I both had little kids at the time, and we were like, we just want something that you can, like, sit down, look at the directions for 10 minutes and jump in. And, so that was part of just trying to make it, like, super accessible and easy to play in that way. So we think, it can be accessible to around that age range as well.
And right here is a look. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, it's quick setup, short rounds. You can make it longer if you want to iterate on it, but you can really open the box and get going too, which I think is a great feature.
Oh, and that's awesome. And right here is a look at some of Kay's work, art-wise, and some of what I meant too. Like right here, how you see it's like the top half of it's almost like a book, and then it just blends perfectly into like a splash page almost. Like, it's just, I love how you guys did that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun sort of designing that. Like, so I'll write essentially just a page of prose, and then it can stop halfway down and be like, okay, here's a panel description. Like, this is a super cool scene when the Vingal takes over the corpse of a pilot on the plane. And so we were like, this has to be a visual. Like, Kay's going to make that look super cool. And then so she just kind of takes over with what is that going to look like? What angle? She does all the direction and stuff on that, just so perfectly. And then, so it's trying to find the balance, but it's a lot of fun collaborating, going back and forth, trying to figure out what's going to be prose, what's going to be sequential art, what's going to be a splash, what's going to be a blend, like the last page, which is that awesome perspective of Loria reaching down into the hole trying to grab Fern as the Vingal.
I love that.
Yeah, like that was.
Like, he was the.
That was all bad. So
like, I thought she was gonna die. And then like her Fern calling for her like woke her up from, and then like just chews through the. I'm like, dude, brutal. Like, oh man, like, and the build up too. Like when she gets the flare gun and she's expecting some big like explosion and it wasn't. I was like, dude. So this is going live February 28th, guys, right? There is the launch. Be sure to sign up for the pre-launch to be alerted when it goes live. What type of, what are some of the favorite rewards that you guys are looking forward to? Like any tiers? And maybe, do you have any idea of a price point, like what the book and the game together is going to look like?
Yeah, sure. We're looking at $59 for the whole thing. It's coming in one beautifully crafted box, ready to go. We wanted to keep that real easy for everybody. Our upgrades are all just to make it the most high quality product we can. So it's really ramping up, the card quality we hope we can hit. We hope we can get some spot gloss and really just, if I can ship some antlers to someone at some point, I'll be fired up. We haven't really talked about that yet.
Oh, that would be so cool, dude. Or even like a little replica of the sword.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Oh,
that would be awesome. Yeah.
Can I talk about our Kickstarter exclusive card?
Yeah.
Yes, please, Kay.
Oh, yes. Okay, so my favorite card in the whole thing is going to be a Kickstarter exclusive. It's a trap card that stops your opponent, and it's based on my cat. And I'm so excited about it. And you can only get it if you order it on Kickstarter. It's adorable and it's perfect. I'm really excited about it.
I like the perfect part that she threw in there too.
It's perfect.
And the idea behind that, Kay, was that Pumpkin often will get in your way and keep you from accomplishing your mission, right?
Yeah. Oh, he hates it when I work.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh, it's a nasty card too. Like you don't get to draw or discard. Like your turn ends immediately. It's ruthless. It's ruthless.
Yeah, that man.
I think too. I should hit too. Like one of our favorite pledges is that there are a few characters that we haven't asked Kay to create just yet, and so we basically have some collab tiers that if you want to be a part of it, Cody, you can get your face on one of these characters.
Oh, buttering me up.
You can come up with the antler weapon that you would use in this world.
Man, this has been such an awesome sit down. Eastin, Kay, Alex, thank you all for coming by, breaking down this awesome book and game. Before I let you guys go, I always love ending this podcast on a strong note, and that's where I get to ask you guys for a little bit of advice for anyone who is looking to getting into creating games or maybe even their own board game. So with that being said, for anyone who is looking to and within your respective roles as well, so anyone looking to become a writer, an artist, or even create a board game, lacking motivation just to get going, what would you offer them as a piece of advice to help them kind of just get enough juice to get started?
Go Eastin.
Yeah, so if you have an idea and you want to get it done, I'm not going to say just do it, because obviously that could be difficult. There are a lot of things that can get in the way. But if you're passionate about something, really the best way for me, and it might work for some people, is to set some designated time aside in your day and make it a part of your routine. And that's the only way I'm able to get anything done, is because I'm very routine driven. So I have to get up early to write with my coffee when the house is quiet. And that's how I get things done. And if I didn't do that, I would sleep late. I would get distracted by comics or video games or something. So I think it's just sort of like, if you're passionate about something, you want to get it done, look to see where you can incorporate it. You might have to sacrifice something else. But also get a part of the community. There's sort of that community accountability, and people are just excited to see you create. So, when you're talking on Twitter and you have this cool idea, make some friends, say, hey, what do you think of this? And that sort of energy is contagious. So, I would say try and get it a part of your routine and just talk to people who are doing it. A lot of the people out there are so eager to help and talk about it too. So don't be shy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd say, go ahead, Kay. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, comics are very daunting. It's a lot of art. It's a lot of effort. I would say if it's something that you're interested in doing, just sit down, design a character you like, or find a character you love in media already, and just make a bunch of art. There are folders upon folders of ugly comics that I've never shown anybody, just because I sat down and I decided to do it for me. And you learn a lot along the way, and it doesn't have to be perfect or pretty or polished or even something you post. Just do it for yourself, draw the things that you love, and you're going to find other people who enjoy the same things that you do.
I love that, Kay, that it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be perfect. So don't put that pressure on yourself. Just enjoy the act of creation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's very important. Enjoying what you do as you're doing it.
I love it. I love it. I would say something similar of just like be prepared to iterate and then find, if we're going to talk specifically about games and game design, find the thing about what you're thinking that is fun. You know, I think at the start you're going to have a huge thing. Like I have all this, the cones of Dunshire, these billions of things you want to do. Like, what's the fun part of it? And ask other people too. Like, what's the most fun? And then like strip it all down, start from there, and then build back out. And if it gets boring again, strip it down, build it back out.
You know, I like that a lot too. Eastin, I gotta be honest, when you were giving your advice, I felt so attacked. I'm like, dude, I sleep all the time and I play nothing but video games. I need to schedule a time slot.
I don't know. You're incredibly productive, Cody, so you're doing something right.
Yeah, for real.
Thank you. I appreciate it. There's a lot of indie out there, and you know, everybody needs a little platform to kind of shout their comic games and everything else out on. So, you know, for me, like, I just love getting the chance to really sit down and learn, like, the ins and outs. Like, this is the first time I've ever really broke down a book-game combination. This was an awesome experience, and I appreciate you all three coming on here and helping us learn about it. Everyone watching right here is the link for the last time. Be sure to follow. Goes live February 28th. We want to try to get as many pre-launch followers on that as possible. You are the future right now at 310. Let's get it up to 320 by the end of today. With that being said, it is time for us to wrap up. I hope you all have a lovely Wednesday afternoon, but most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.